Hey y'all, what's up? Hope you're doing well. John with B Superfly. Just wanted to show you a couple cool things I did on this test site we're building for a client using the before pseudo element. If you're not familiar, you can go through our videos here, and I have some on it. This fun with gradients, we'll touch on it a little bit, um, but I use it. I use it quite a lot, and this one will go over it quite a bit. The create locations hover feature. That video will go over quite it as well. But let me show you. Let me go ahead and get out of that. Let me show you first what the two things I want to show you how to do. First one is this. We'll cover this real quick. Just how to make this nice little fade in on hover. And then also changing this on hover. I'll go over that. And then I'll also go over on the mobile menu. You see here we have a background image here for this menu, and so I'll show you how to do that really quick as well. So first I'll go to that row here, and if we go in here, we'll see that it's just a full width row here, and I have a class of ID, a featured row on there. And other than that, it's a text module here, and then in the row, I'm just setting, in the different columns, I'm setting spacing of 195. That's what's giving it, there's 195 padding up here, and I'm giving that to all of these three. This one has different padding settings because the content's different, right? That one, the spacing is just, it's just something like that. And then there's some borders going on. In fact, there's a couple things I see a couple things I need to fix on that, which I'll get to after this video. And then coming into tablet, they're gonna stack like this, and then mobile, they're just gonna stack all on top of each other. Great. So all I have set up here is just this featured row. There's no other code in here. So let's flip over to the code here, which I will provide this code in the code pen. In the description of this video, there'll be a link to this. And so this code pen has both the mobile nav we're going to do and then this featured row right here. So let me just go back here and we'll take a look at it. We'll scroll down to this featured row section. And so here's kind of where this is where the main magic happens right here. So I'm saying, hey, go into my featured row, which is the entire row here, and the columns that are in there. Columns that have a class of featured. That's the other thing I have to show you. I misspoke. So two things you got to do. Number one, you got to give your row a class of featured row, and then since I'm not I'm not doing this to all of the columns, like if this one here was like another one of these, then images or something like that, then you wouldn't have to do this step. But since this one has a different layout than these three, I went in and gave these three columns a class of featured. When you're only going to have one of an item on a page, you can use the ID. But when you're going to have more than one, you use featured. So here I have three of these, so I gave them all the class of featured. Okay, so that was that was a step. And so that way I can target just these three columns by saying, hey, go into the featured row and then grab all the columns that have the featured class. And I probably could have got rid of this and just done dot featured, but I like being specific and saying, grab the columns, grab featured. And if we just look at this code here, you'll see that this column right here, it's got the ETPB column right there, and there's the featured. This one has the ETPB column, no featured. So it's not going to be affected by what we're doing here. And so then I'm saying, hey, find those featured columns And then let's make a before pseudo element. And what's going to be in this thing? Well, there's not going to be any text in here, or any content, but I want it to display block. I want it to cover 100% the width and the height of the column, the whole area. I want to position it to where it starts in the top left. And I'm going to give it a background color of black, but it's turned all the way down. It's turned all the way down to 0. And then I'm going to give it a transition to make sure it's smooth. When it animates it, it's smooth. It doesn't do it right away. And then the other thing I got to do is say, hey, now featured row, those featured, when they hover over them, go into that before pseudo element and turn that background color up to 67%. And that's what's going on there. In fact, if I go in here and I find that before area, you can type stuff in here. You can say, well, I have to do it near the code, but you can type stuff in here. I wouldn't recommend it though. Anyway, if I take this transition off, you'll see now that it just does it fast, which is fine if that's what you want, but that's not what I want. I want it to be smooth, and so that's why I have that transition on there, so it's nice and smooth. And then if you go into the hover state here, you're on the before. If I go into the hover state, this is where, oh, sorry, it's not the hover state of that. It's the hover state of this here. Sorry. This is where I can go in and see, here's that 67% background color. And maybe you want to change this to something else. You sure can do that, or maybe make it heavier of a color or something like that. Okay, so that's that one. The other thing that I'm doing on that one is I'm saying, hey, go into the featured row, any of the featured columns on hover, change my H3 to orange. And then in order to make it smooth, you got to go to the regular H, the non-hovered version, the non-hovered one, and give it the transition. Otherwise, it'll just do it fast. And so that's why it kind of goes as well. You can even say, hey, I want this one. When I hover over it, I want that transition instead of 0.3 seconds. Let's make it 2 seconds long. And so now it's going to take 2 seconds, which is a little, but you have some control over that, is what I'm saying. Okay, so you can play with that. The other thing I was going to show you is, let me go ahead and refresh this page, and then let me turn on the responsive mode here. I'll turn up to 100%. All right, the other thing I was going to show you was this here. Background here. It's the same idea. If I go up to my mobile nav here, this is the one right here. I'm saying, hey, when the screen's 980 or less, which is when Divi kicks in their mobile menu, same deal. Find that mobile menu, the UL. So if I look here, if I inspect this, you'll see that UL ID mobile menu. That's this whole thing right here. So I'm saying, hey, go in there. Let's make a pseudo element using the before. Again, empty content, same thing as before. Display block, width and height 100%, position absolute, top left, background image. And you'll want to change this to yours, but this is where you get the background image. And then you can choose the opacity of that image. So if I go in here and look at the before pseudo element here, I see that background image I put in, and then I also see the opacity. If I put 1, it's going to just show that the whole time. And then the other thing that you want to do, you may have to, and you can kind of see there what happened. If you have any problem with the background image going over the text, you may have to add a Z index on it. So for example, here, if I put Z index, if I went high enough, it's going to do it. But if I do -1, it's always going to keep it behind the text. So I'll add that to the code that way. That way you have it. But this is cool in that you can, sometimes I'll use like a gradient and just to give it some different colors in the back. I did that on the Superfly site. So anyway, that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you dive in and just see how powerful the pseudo class, the pseudo element class can be. Again, I'll link this in the YouTube video description. And then also go on our website, bsuperfly.com, and under training, Divi courses, we have CSS for Divi here. And I'm logged in, so I get it. I'm a member, so I get it for free. You can either become a member and get all our things for free for a low yearly cost, or you can pay $49 and get this course. But it's going to teach you everything you need to know to up your game. You can check out the demo here, which is basically a sales page for it. Watch this video, and it's really going to see the course outline. It's really going to help level up your game. Who is this course for? And then I believe there's even a sample project on here. So you can see, like in this example, I'm replacing Divi's play video icon, which I don't like at all, with this play video graphic, which I think looks a lot smoother. So you can follow along in that one and even view the code pen for this one. And no surprise, I'm using a before pseudo element here to help make that happen. So, all right, y'all. Thanks for checking this out. Hope you check out the course and hope you enjoyed it. Cheers, y'all.